Hello and welcome to another very special edition of Kudo Camera Company YouTube channel here. We've got our very esteemed guest and friend, Vladimir Khazan, here tonight. And we gave you an introduction of the series last week, and Vlad came on and gave us an overview. And we promised this presentation here about the beginning of photography. So, Vladimir, the beginning of photography probably started with George Eastman from Kodak Company. Is that right, or what? What are we going to learn about today?
Sure. At some point, well, first of all, hello everybody, and yes, I'm Vladimir Khazan. I'm not someone else. Um, yes, photography. You can think that the history of photography began with George Eastman, but only because of it's a free country and everybody can think whatever they want. Um you may think so, but it's not exactly true.
So we've got some characters we're going to learn about today. So let's cut over to the presentation here so we can get a visual on some of this stuff that we're going to learn about. So go ahead, Vlad.
Sure. So this is the front title, the first slide of my presentation, and it actually tells you a little bit of everything that this presentation will include. Um, we will start with the Chinese scientist right here who lived before Christ, and we will go all the way down to the Johann Heinrich Schulze, who lived in Germany and who actually did the first um, experiment proving that silver nitrate get darkened because of the light.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's going to be good.
So let us begin. Are you ready? Is
I'm
everybody
ready.
ready? Okay. So first of all, we are going to talk about photography. And as you can see from this definition, that photography is the art and science, creating still images using a camera. This sentence consists of several words, and only two of them I would like to analyze a little more than the others. The Those words are photography and camera. These two words are very old. The word photography comes from Greek, and words like this are being translated into English as a sentence. As you can see here, we start translation from the end of the word with the graphé. Graphé means drawing, and phōtos means light. Altogether, it means that the entire word means drawing with light. So in every time when we say the word photography, we mean we are talking about drawing with light. The second word I would like to stop at is the word camera. At all times, the word camera was used together with camera obscura. Camera obscura means dark chamber. Any chamber. It could be a room, could be a box, could be a small device which does not have light inside. So that's about how it looks. But the camera obscura has a little hole on one wall right here. Because of that hole, the image is being created on the other side, on the opposite side of the camera obscura. And as you can see here, the image is upside down and flipped left to right. Why it happens and how it happens was proved by a scientist. His last name is Khazan, but we'll get there a little later.
Your great uncle.
Yeah, great, great, great. Probably great once more. Uh, Uncle, right. Uh, but everything started, Ben, I'm sorry, I have to disappoint you. Uh,
It
well,
wasn't George Eastman.
no, no, it was not George Eastman. It was not Pierre Daguerre. It was not anybody else. It was Chinese philosopher Mozi. He lived before Christ, and he mentioned camera obscura. I'm not sure if he created it or it was created before him. Actually, uh, if we would analyze what he said, we can probably tell that camera obscura existed before Mozi started talking about it, because he said it's a collecting plate, it's locked treasure room. He just described it, and he gave his opinion on that. But I did not find any records of him making or creating camera obscura.
And you, Vlad, remember what we always say on YouTube. If anyone out there watching this video knows anything about some history of photography that dates back before Mozi, comment down below. Let us know. Vlad and I will take a look at it and respond and see,
Absolutely.
because Vlad always mentions that we're piecing together the puzzle pieces of photography history here and finding crystals and putting them together. So if anyone has any information before Mozi, let us know. That's the YouTube saying, Vlad. You'll get that down after a few more.
Yeah, that is a very good saying, and it is very good. It's kind of forum,
Hmm.
right? And yes, I would love to hear the information that I do not have.
Yeah, great.
All right, so let us continue, and let's go from Mozi to Aristotle. Aristotle was a Greek scientist, and he did a lot. He um, opened dead bodies. He studied anatomy that way. Because he was not allowed to open dead human bodies, so he opened dead animal bodies, and he thought that animals are built the same way as humans, but unfortunately, he was wrong on that. Um, what he also did was he noted that metal plate with a small hole, just like camera obscura, uh, can help to study solar eclipse, because it is very difficult to look at the sun and see something. So he just figured out if he would hold up a plate with a little hole in it, then on the ground he will see the image of solar eclipse, and that's how um, he could study solar eclipse. Next scientist that we will see here on this slide is Euclid. He is very famous with his geometry, but also he proved that light travels in straight lines. And to prove that, he used camera obscura. Our next slide will show us how the light travels. And this is Ben likes his last name. It's Al-Hazen, almost Khazan, but
Hmm.
it's not Khazan. It's Hazen.
Wait, you had yours changed at Alice Island, correct? So is that where the K got added on here?
No, no.
And the
American
AL got turned to a K.
No, yes, American Embassy in Soviet Union added a letter K to my last name. For some
Mhm.
reason, they decided that everything must be spelled in French. So, yeah. So,
Yeah, this is a great slide, though. I like this.
yeah. So, Al-Hazen built this. Actually, he did not build anything. He used this dark room. He just made a hole in the wall, and as you can see, this outside outdoors picture is being projected on the screen, which is indoors, and it is upside down, definitely. And you can tell it is flipped left to right because of this dome. See, this dome is on this
Hmm.
side, and originally it is on the other side.
Hmm.
Okay, so all the images in camera obscura are upside down and flipped left to right. That's what he did. He was a very famous scientist, and he wrote about 90 works. He did about 90 works. The most influential was the Book of Optics. You can see it here. Um, in 1572, it was translated into Latin, and no, it was translated before 1572, but in 1572, Friedrich Risner uh, printed it, published it, and um, you can see that two medical terms, cornea and retina, that I read circled, they came from the Latin translation of Al-Hazen's work. And as you probably know, if you don't know, if you do not remember, I can tell you that um, Mr. George Eastman named one of his cameras Retina. Just
Yeah, good point.
yeah, just this name, this word, Retina. Why? Because it was a very sharp camera. It used very good lenses, and for that reason, it was named Retina.
Retina has a better ring to it than if you were to try some of the other ones like the Sclera, the Kodak Sclera, or the Kodak Ciliary. I think yeah, they nailed it with Retina.
Yeah, yeah.
It sounds
But
good. The iris or the pupil sounds kind of cool, but the Retina is the best.
those are medical terms,
Right.
modern medical terms. But only two of them came from this book, this work of
Mm,
Al Hazan.
very cool.
Later on, in 13th century, Roger Bacon. He was a monk. He was a Franciscan monk, and he studied principles of camera obscura, and he used the camera obscura to project an image of the sun again. Again, he learned solar eclipses, and also he um, studied other stars, not just the sun. Another person from this slide is a French rabbi who lived in Arles, France. He studied solar eclipse using camera obscura as well, and also he studied stars and planets. He made a lot. He did a lot for studying, for astronomical studying, and he was recognized as one of the sites was joking that this rabbi is the first one on the moon. Yeah, uh, it is so because one of the craters on the moon was named after this Rabbi Levi.
And he shares my name. So you've got Al-Hazen and I've got Levi Ben,
Oh,
Levi Ben, Rabbi Levi Ben Gershon.
oh yeah.
Okay, good.
So we can continue as a company.
Yeah.
All right. Um, well, of course, everybody will recognize Leonardo on this slide. And Leonardo, um, people used to say that Leonardo um, used camera obscura to draw, which has never happened, according to the information that I found. He built his own camera obscura and he used that little camera obscura only to study eye physiology. Only. He never used it for drawing. He did it himself. The
He was
other,
that good.
he was
He was almost as good as a camera.
he was very good. I think he was better than the camera.
Those days.
Yeah,
Cameras those days.
yeah. I think his Mona Lisa um, is he would not be able to draw that with camera obscura. I don't think so.
I've never seen it before in person. You'll have to take me now that we're almost clear here for free and safe travel. Will is it in France?
It's yes, it's in Louvre, but
Great.
you can find a copy on the internet, of course.
Of course, yeah.
All right. Uh, the next scientist who actually did a lot for photography was Giovanni Battista della Porta. He was an Italian scholar and mathematician. He um, financially he could not afford getting formal education. For that reason, he started from visiting scholars, and he used every moment to learn more and more and more and more. And finally, he was the one who described camera obscura with a lens. So he
Brilliant.
he added he added the lens to the camera obscura. Remember, before it was just a hole, a
Mm-hmm.
pinhole. The next person on this slide is Danielle Barbaro. Again, he was from Italy and he was an architect, but he was not just an architect. He was a writer, he was a translator, which is very important. He was a translator of Vitruvius. Vitruvius, everybody, I think, after um, uh, Brown's Brown's book, what is it, Da Vinci Code?
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody knows that Vitruvian man, uh, Leonardo's work, Vitruvian Man, because the hero of uh, the the Roman was found on the floor dead in the position of a Vitruvian Man.
Right. Now I remember that scene and also the illustration.
Yeah,
It's basically like the man inside the circle showing how the arms and limbs move in a certain radius and all that good stuff.
right, right.
That's
So
a good movie. Well, I'll have to go back and watch that movie this weekend, The Da Vinci Code. That's a nice
that's
thriller.
one of my favorite. That one and Back to the Future, all three of them.
I like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yeah, Indiana Jones is fine.
Yeah. All
Good
right. Good.
too. Yeah, yeah. Also, there's another movie, Overboard, that I like.
Overboard.
Overboard, yeah, that's an old comedy.
Oh, okay. I'll look that one up. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, I think you can find it on YouTube.
Excellent. Excellent.
It's a comedy, so whenever you will feel a little down, you can find that.
Good. Good. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. That's good.
Yeah.
So,
So let's get back to Vitruvius. Um, not Vitruvius, but Danielle Barbaro, who actually translated Vitruvius. Vitruvius was an architect and the author, Italian, Roman, actually, Roman, not Italian. It was before Italy, it was Roman times. And Danielle Barbaro added a diaphragm to the camera obscura, to the lens, to the lens that Giovanni Battista della Porta made. Danielle Barbaro added diaphragm. That diaphragm, just like modern aperture, can go smaller and wider, can adjust the amount of light that will get inside the camera. That's the idea for goal for the aperture and for the diaphragm. So notice that now we already have a box with a lens, and the lens has the aperture, right? So it's already much more complicated device than it was used by uh, Mozi.
right now we're just missing a shutter and some film.
Not only, take a look. This is the camera how it looks by
Mhm.
now, right? And in the future, next future, that's already.
Oh, the reflex mirror.
Oh yes.
I forgot the reflex mirror in the ground glass. Yeah.
Yep. 17th century German scientist, professor of mathematics. He introduced a reflex mirror mounted at 45-degree angle to the lens axis. So if this is the lens, right? And horizontally is the lens axis. So this mirror is angled 45 degrees to the um, lens axis. Okay, so what do we have here? Let's take a closer look. We have a camera, dark chamber. We have a lens, one lens, and we have a mirror. So we have only one lens, which is single lens reflex camera, SLR, in the 17th century, right? Isn't
By
that
Johann Christoph Sturm.
Sturm? Yes, I think that's amazing,
It is amazing.
and it was way before Mr. Eastman, right?
I have my own theory about Eastman, but I since I learned it all from you, I'll save it until we get to that point in the presentation because I think he's gotten too much credit now after watching some of this. But no, he's still a huge
No,
influence on
no,
photography. But
he did a lot. He did a lot, but we'll talk about him further and a little later. Not in this presentation, not
of
in the
course,
next one,
not in the beginning.
not
Not
in
in
the
the beginning.
beginning. No,
No.
not in the next one. We will continue after this presentation. We will talk about other people who are pioneers of photography. All right, but here I have to say that next year, right after uh, Sturm, Dr. Sturm, introduced his reflex mirror, another German scientist who was at that point, he was just a school teacher, he described camera obscura in his book. And that book was published in Leipzig. But unfortunately, people understood the value of that book only 200 years later. Can you imagine? So instead of 1677, 1877. And that is right after Daguerre made his famous speech in front of French Academy of Sciences.
Yeah, I do know how that feels a bit. Like this YouTube video we're making here. This may not be watched by anyone for 200 years, but then when they watch it, they're going to say, "Oh my gosh, there it is, the missing piece. It's been right in front of us the whole time." So
Yeah,
it's important that we do these things.
it is important. And I hope it will be interesting for a lot of people.
Hmm.
All right, so let's continue. Camera Obscura went through uh, many types, many uh, versions of Camera Obscura. For example, this one is used as a drawing aid. As you can see, the person inside the dark or darker tent. It's not a light tight tent, it's just a darker tent.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, light seals and these light leaks.
Light leaks, yes, light leaks. It does not need to be light tight.
Mm-hmm.
And he's drawing the whatever he sees through the camera obscura. All right, that's one, and that is kind of he could bring it over to this place, and we can tell that he did bring it over to this place. Okay, this one is another way, well, the same way, but just for watching, right? You can see this person here on the side, and uh, he's holding some lever that allows the mirror going around and around and around and showing the people here inside this room um, what is going on outside, right? So this mirror going around reflects different parts of the landscape.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Here, it's already a business. See, admission 10 cents,
Hmm. In
right?
today's money, that could be $10.
Maybe even more. Yep. But this is a stationary building, and it has camera obscura on the top, and people walk in, they pay this 10 cents fee to walk in, and they enjoy the panorama. Then, oh, this is a very interesting thing. See, this camera obscura can be driven anywhere by the horse. And usually, the stuff that we can take anywhere, we call portable, right? So, because this camera obscura can be driven by the horse anywhere, it is called portable.
Mm-hmm. It's also another word for portable would be mobile. if something is mobile. So this is kind of like the first mobile camera, like the mobile phone camera sort of thing. And you could have your horse take your letter someplace. So this was almost like the first cell phone, even.
Yeah, yeah, mobile.
That's a stretch, I know.
Yep. All right. So the next one is how some people use it nowadays. I think it's probably business as well, but this is for kids mostly. And kids really get excited, as you can see, when they see surroundings without actually looking at the surroundings.
I'd get excited about this too. This would be amazing. I bet the image quality is excellent.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm sure they did. The owners they did a very good job choosing lenses and mirrors and everything. All right, and this one going back, uh, as we already said it, it's an SLR camera obscura, which was used for drawing only. Those days, it was very expensive to uh, get portrayed, and only very rich people could allow themselves to uh, to sit down and pose for hours and hours until this artist would draw their portrait. All right, and this is the camera that was used mostly for portraying. But as you can see, there are two nubs. One nub is here, right? And the other nub is here. So this nub is to open it like this, and you can see the image here. But this nub is to, I think, to open it up, and uh, in that situation, the image could be seen over here. All right.
Hmm.
Now, let's compare what we have. This camera was built um, in 1753, 18th century. And further, a little later, like 100 years after, Mr. George Eastman built this camera, right? If we will compare these two cameras, what are we going to see? The lens is here and the lens is here. Then the space, the dark space is here and the dark space is here. Okay. And in the back, there is the area where the image is being formed. And same here for this camera. In the back, the image is being formed. So we can tell that the base of this uh, camera and many other cameras that were built about the same way is camera obscura.
One thing that the Kodak camera has over this is the viewfinder. Is that right?
Yes, and
But I'm sure you'll teach us about the viewfinder soon.
yes, right. Right now, I can tell about this viewfinder because this camera has two. This one, this one, and the other
Hmm.
one is here on top. It's not visible here, but it's there, right? Why two? Uh, because using these two, either one of these viewfinders, you can make horizontal and vertical photographs
Hmm.
using
That's
this
great.
camera. So
It's nice.
you can turn 90 degrees this camera. Okay. But again, the base for this camera is still camera obscura. Okay, and finally we got to Mr. Well, not Mr. Her. I I can't say it right. How they say it in German?
Johann Heinrich
Johann
Schultz.
Heinrich Schulze. Yes,
Schultz.
Germany. He was a scientist. He was a professor. He studied chemistry, philosophy, and anatomy as well. And but he's best known for his discovery of darkening, darkening that silver nitrate gets darkens when exposed to light, not to heat. See, I even underlined it, not to heat as other scientists believed. All
So
right.
with heat, a lot of sources of heat probably would turn it dark, but because there's light involved there as well. But in most, not in all areas of heat, but I wonder if heat does a little bit to it, or it does nothing to it.
It's irrelevant.
Hmm.
It's irrelevant. You can probably notice it if you will use some silver, not necessarily silver, maybe fragile um, uh, utensils,
Hmm.
right? They get dark with the time,
Oh wow.
right? They get dark. So Johann Heinrich Schultz has begun chemical era in photography. And right now, I will show you what he did. I'm really proud of this series of slides. Actually, it's a one animated slide, but I like it very much. All right, so that's how uh, um, studios, photography studios, will look from now, and that's era started chemical era, right? So, and this is what he did. He took a jar filled with the silver nitrate. As you can see here, the chemical formula, it says silver nitrate, right? Then he used a stencil. I hope everybody knows what stencil is. It's a I will not show the exact stencil as Schulze used because he used a text. He cut the text on the paper. I will show you only one letter. So this letter A is being cut, was cut in that piece of paper and got stuck on the jar. Then he took a source of light and see what happened?
I do. That's beautiful. I like how you did that. That's a great animation.
Yeah. Inside the bottle, letter A appeared, and it stayed even after he took his source of light away and he removed the stencils, the stencil. It stayed like that as long as he started mixing it up. Only then it disappeared.
Now
See,
inside this jar here, was this a dust or a powder or was it a liquid?
it's a liquid. It's a
It
liquid.
was a liquid. So it would
Liquid.
just suspend in liquid, it would change the different color, and then once he mixed it, it disappeared. It would be diluted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
and then mixing up, it will disappear. Okay, so this is my last slide, and further, I'm showing the bibliography. The bibliography covers the entire presentation, the entire series of presentations that we are going to go through. That's why you can see the name Daguerre and Hawthorne and George Gilbert and Eastman and everybody else.
That's great.
Walcott. So it's this bibliography is for um, all the presentations that we are going to go through.
Vladimir, if you'd like, I can put that in the video description. Do you think that would be a good idea?
Yeah, why not? So people can go and see actually the sources, the same sources that I used for this presentation.
Well, Vlad, you did such a great job tonight, and partly I'm thinking it could be helpful for us to go back before we end the broadcast for tonight. What if we went back to your presentation about the overview, and you could kind of tell us what's coming next? Because if we went back to your original, I don't know if you have it available, but if we went back to your original presentation.
Yeah, I have it available. Yeah, the rest of the series will continue, and as I just said, that with the work of Johann Schulze, um, chemical era has begun, and um, many, several presentations, several coming presentations will be on chemical era because we use chemicals all the way up to digital photography,
That's great. So next we're going to learn about the chemical era, and then I can see a few more in the preview. We're going to get into the Kodak era, sort of the George Eastman pocket camera, roll film. We're going to go through the history of Zeiss and all of the iterations, all of the different factories and locations.
Yes.
And then after that, what is that next one that I see there? History. Oh, Leica. Of course, we're going to have to go into Leica, and then at the end we have Exacta. So that's
Exacta
great.
as a representative of SLR cameras for 35 millimeter film.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
And
So
here you can see only main stops for the series of the presentation. For example,
yeah.
the next one I'm planning to talk about, not about Nicéphore Niepce yet, but instead I will be talking about Thomas Wedgwood. If you like antiques, you probably you probably saw the antique pottery made by Wedgwood, Josiah Wedgwood in England. He was the most famous potterist in England. And
so like most photographers, he had to use his real job to support his photography habit.
no. It's the father. It's the father was the potterist,
Oh,
and
really?
his son.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the family had 8 kids. Unfortunately, not everybody survived, but they had 8 kids, and the family is related to Charles Darwin family. It is a very interesting history, story. And unfortunately, Thomas Wedgwood, the person who I'm going to talk about next time, um, passed away very young, very young. He was 44 years of age when he passed away,
Wow.
unfortunately. Yeah, but
So,
he,
so Vladimir,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
think that kind of covers us for the beginning of photography. It sets us up for the chemical era. So our next presentation will be the last Friday of the month, coming up in June. So it'll be the last Friday in June. We're going to talk about the beginning of the chemical era, and then we'll go from there. So, any closing words for your fans out there tonight who are getting a chance to watch this?
Yeah, sure. Actually, chemical era had begun already with
Mm-hmm.
the Johann Schultz work, uh, and we will continue going into the chemical era. And I hope everybody will enjoy the presentations. I find it really fascinating to be able to go all the way back to the beginning and find out what was going on and how we could come to from camera obscura to just this.
Excellent. Great. All right, Vlad. Well, Vlad, let's you and I will stick around on Zoom and we'll chat for a few minutes before we hang up. But why don't we say goodnight to everyone out there on YouTube? So thanks for tuning in with us here, and thank you to Vladimir Khazan, our dear friend here. And Vladimir, I'll catch you on Zoom, and to everyone else, good night.
All right, and thank you everybody for listening, and thank you for for coming to for being interested in this subject. It
Great.
is,
And
I think it's a great subject.
excellent subject. And so there'll be an exam at the end as well. So we'll do a trivia at the very end. That'll be the bonus episode. So everyone, make sure you get your good notes in. All right, everyone, take care and good night.
Good night, everybody.